All right, guys, welcome back to episode 2 of Talking with the Boro Boys. My name is Andrew Franz. I'm joined with Carson Shelton, Connor Ballou, and we're going to be running down a quick recap of Pebble Beach Pro this past weekend. The Europeans absolutely dominated the field coming down the stretch. I believe 4 or 5 of the top 10 were European, and they were dominating all week. Rory took a lead going into Sunday, and on Sunday, and he never looked back. Went up 4 strokes early and won by 2 at the end of the day. So, I mean, props to Rory. My take last week was absolutely horrible. I could easily see him winning the major if he keeps this one going. That's all I'm going to say there.
Yeah, I'm still sticking with my Rory Masters pick.
Yeah, it looks good. I don't know. I still won't choose him to win the Masters until I see something a little bit better down the road once we get a little bit closer to April. But that's a good pick. That's a good projection. Good future.
Well, what's the Masters? Early April? Isn't
Yeah,
it
early
April 13th ish? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a two and a couple weeks, 2 months, a couple weeks left for a little run he could go on, and he might get hot rolling into the Masters. I mean,
he said he wanted to have a Scotty Scheffler type year. I mean, he started it off well.
He's ready,
he's
baby.
due.
He's ready.
He's due for it.
Prove all those haters wrong.
I mean, if he could
Did
prove
you
me
see-
wrong, that's great.
Did you guys see the line he took over the trees and just?
He took it every day.
Just a powerful man. Just a powerful man. And
I mean, a couple other guys did, but like,
I mean, he turned
That dude.
a 570-yard par 5 into a 450-yard par 4, and it had 7, 8 iron in, and was guaranteed a birdie basically.
right,
I mean,
yeah.
you don't see that every week from every player.
I will say, like, it felt like the scores were so close through the front 9 of the last day that it felt like anyone could have broke through. I mean, Tom Kim, he
Yeah.
was struggling and he was hanging in there. Glover was hanging in there. Justin Rose, Lowry, and
Yeah.
at the I'd say second 9, Rory kind of broke through and got a 2-shot lead and never went back from there. So.
Well, Rory had a 4-stroke lead on Sunday, I believe, and he was cruising.
Is that right?
I'm pretty sure he had a 4-stroke
I think
lead
the
at one
scores
point.
were so close because the conditions weren't the best there.
Yeah.
It was super windy. It rained one day.
Yeah, I mean, they're out there on.
He won by 2 strokes.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure he had a 4-stroke lead at one point.
Well, he might have, but I'm saying to start the day, I think he was tied with.
To start today, I think he was in second place.
Yeah, he was tied for second.
He was tied for second, and Shane was
Sepp
leading.
Straka was leading.
Yeah,
Sepp Straka was leading by 1, I believe.
Yeah, like the whole European Ryder Cup team was in there.
I mean,
And
that's,
Scotty, people were wondering if he was going to make the jump, but he's just too far behind.
I mean, he lost by
tied for lead.
6.
That was his worst finish in
He's
since
T9.
2022, I think.
He's T9.
Yeah.
I mean, he was consistent. I mean, he had a 67, a 70, a 69, and a 70. That's pretty consistent at the start and end
Just
of the
lit his
week.
hand up.
Yeah, I mean, he said you don't mess with wine glasses, apparently. He's trying to make raviolis, slices his hand up on a wine glass. I guess he's not touching a wine glass for the rest of the year, if not
He
longer.
don't look like he's fallen off one bit.
No, I don't think a player of his caliber falls off at all. But,
No.
I mean,
He
first
was
tournament back.
still number 1 in strokes gained on approach. I mean,
Yeah.
Was he really?
yeah. And so, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think he's falling off. You can't win every tournament. I mean,
No, I mean,
he's-
no one's going to be like what was it, 2000 Tiger, where he had 9 wins
yeah, no.
and multiple majors. No one's gonna be like that. The field is too tight in this day and age. No one's going to dominate the way Tiger did.
Yeah, I
There's
can
so
see
many
Rory
players
going on a
that
run.
somebody new could come in every week and win. That's how good these fields are and how much young talent that we have. So,
I mean, speaking of young talent, Fields Waste Management Open, it's gonna be a fun one. It's a fun one every year. It's the fans love it. That 16th hole, that par 3.
It's going to be a pleasure to watch.
I
There's
pray
a
there's
lot
a
of.
hole one on 16.
I hope there's a couple. If there's a couple, it's gonna get rowdy in there. It always gets rowdy in there. The fans love it in there.
It'll be
But
interesting to see how these guys, Tom Kim, Straka, they carry over their play because
yeah,
Straka was coming off the win at I forget where it was, but the weekend before he won in a
yeah.
smaller tournament before Pebble Beach. So he's
He's
coming
got a
off
freshman
two
haircut on
two
him, so we'll see how it goes.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
coming off two
I,
strong weeks.
I mean, like you said, I mean, Tom Kim could break out. I mean, he was playing well in the TGL going into the Pebble Beach Pro Am. So I mean, he might
I
be able
think
to.
uh, I think Tom Kim will play well because normally he embraces like the shit talk,
Yeah, yeah.
and Waste Management is the place for it. So I think he'll do well this week.
Yeah, I think he'll do well. I saw something earlier that I don't remember who it was, but they were a little bit upset with his play on the par five. He took like a minute and a half to hit his ball, and he sliced into the water. I said, if we're gonna take a minute and a half to slice the ball in the water, every single amateur golfer would be the best player in the world.
He is
So
a slow golfer.
He
Really
did
slow.
top it off the tee and then end up chipping in for birdie. But
he did.
Yeah.
I think going back to last week's conversation, I think he played pretty well, and he was a big guy in the TGL with that shot clock. He might want to get that going in his head mentally, or have his caddy get something going for him, just to
yeah,
maybe see what happens. I mean, he was playing well down the stretch, but fell apart. Maybe he gets that going and holds it out the entire weekend.
they're talking about adding rangefinders back in.
I think that'd be
Yeah.
something beneficial.
I don't see why not. I
I
don't see.
I don't
I
either.
don't know why there's not. They have all the technology in the world, and they have it at their fingertips. And the PGA is just being a bunch of sticklers, not allowing them to use it. And if you go to any golf course anywhere in the entire world, you're going to see almost 90 to 100% of amateur golfers with a rangefinder. You're going to
Right.
Pace of
see
play.
pace of play would go
Pace of
up.
play.
Every player's not going to be flipping through their notebook going, "Oh, the top of this bunker's 140 yards, but it's actually a 60 degree of slope, so it's actually 146." No, they're just going to. Their caddy's going to have a rangefinder. They're going to be shooting it. It's going to take 5 seconds, and they're going to be able to hit the ball. I think adding rangefinder is going to be a great aspect.
Yeah. Looking at
I'm
the
all for rangefinders. I'm all for it. Just I will say that like they probably won't allow the slope to be on, which is fine. Yeah, I mean, the caddy's going to know the slope already.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to figure that out in practice rounds and rounds before. So I think it's a great addition. I think it will be a great addition. Just speed up play and just make it more enjoyable overall.
Yeah, I think it would be a little bit more relatable because I mean, every golfer out there isn't going to be having a notebook for every course they're playing. They're not going to be looking in their notebook every time. Well, they're going to be shooting range. They're going to take their rangefinder out. They're going to be shooting it. So I mean,
yeah, and caddies. I mean, they can be in front of the guy, walk in, go
Yeah.
ahead, get the number. When they get up, discuss the club and moving along. It should help with pace of play. I think at some point in the near future they will implement it where they're allowed to use them.
I think it'd be a
So-
great idea to bring it in. I mean, if you look at like the YouTube golfers when they go play these top courses, they got their caddies. They're out there in the middle of the fairway, let them know if they hit the fairway or not, and then they already got the number before they get up there. So I
They
mean, I think it'd
already
be.
do, yeah.
I think it's a great idea to have the caddies be able to use the rangefinders. I mean, I think speed up the pace of play. I mean,
Looking at these pairings here, like Carson said, feeding off the crowd. So Tom Kim, he's paired with Scotty and Homa. So you know how that's going to go. I mean,
that's going to be a good
you'd
one.
like to think Tom's going to be real competitive in this playing with Scotty.
Yeah,
'Cause, I mean, there'll be a bunch of cameras on them, and he's real competitive with Scotty, so we'll see how that goes. But
a tee time I like: Nick Dunlap, Justin Thomas, and Luke Clanton.
Yeah.
I like that.
Luke's
good
like
young
that.
talent.
Like that pairing a lot.
953, yeah.
953. I
That's off the
mean,
back.
Luke Clanton's. I mean, good amateur, son. Good amateur.
Yeah. You got Sungjae, Sam Burns, Sepp Straka. It's another good one.
I think Luke only missed one cut last year out of
I
the
mean, well, he's what, a junior or senior in college?
Yeah, junior.
Junior in
Look how
college. I
old
mean,
he is.
he's competing with the best guys in the world. I mean,
Multiple
21
top
years old.
tens.
multiple top tens. I mean,
Oh, oh.
I
That's what
mean,
we were doing to him when he was walking down the fairway on 18 at the Wyndham.
I
His
mean,
caddy was getting a kick out of that.
that's when you're a college kid, you know what's going on.
Big
You're
Florida
around
State
that all.
guy. I mean,
I mean,
big Florida State guy.
you're around that all the time. I mean, what else is there to say? If I don't believe any college kid, no matter if you're playing a sport or not playing a sport, you're not going to your school's football games and you're not getting in on the school traditions. I mean, he's got to
It was
love
the
that.
Masters. It was the Masters. He really made a name for himself, right?
I
Wasn't
think
that
so.
Masters last year? Wasn't he? Right?
He's
I
been
think he was
playing.
because I think he was top 10 in the Masters, either last year when Scotty won or the year before. Um, I know Neil was in it too. I thought that was when he kind of made a name for himself, Luke.
I mean, he's just good. He's made 8 out of the 10 cuts. He's got 4 top 10 finishes, 3 top 5 finishes, a couple runner ups. I mean, he's gonna be around the sport for a while. I mean,
He's a dog.
you
He's
look
a
at
dog.
you look at Nick Dunlap. He won last year at the Amex as a amateur, and he's competing with tour players left and right. We got 17-year-old Blades Brown turning pro.
Oh, that's something there, isn't it?
That's I mean that's a completely different story, but the sport's getting younger and younger, and I feel like the younger guys are going to want the game to speed up. 'Cause, I mean they're used to playing, at least the college guys are used to playing in their team events, and I feel like those are going a little bit quicker than the rest of them.
I was mistaken. It was Sam Bennett
Yeah,
last year or 2 years ago. Is who I was thinking of. He
Sam,
finished.
he's good too. He was what
He
T3.
finished tied for 16th. No, tied for 16th.
I mean that's
two under. This was when John Rahm won. 2022, 2023. Phil came in second.
I mean, that's just another guy who's young and he's in the sport, and he's gonna be around it for forever. It feels like.
Yeah.
But we haven't. We've been fishing around the area. Connor, who are you? You said you're telling us earlier you got your pick locked in for who you think is going to win this week. Let's hear it.
I got my pick locked in. I think he's going to play well. He's been playing well this year so far. Another young guy, and my pick is Sam Burns at plus 2,500 to win the Phoenix Open Waste Management this weekend. This week.
I don't like that. I don't mind that at all.
He's been playing well. He's due. So, I know
he's starting out with Sung J M and Seb Stragas. I mean, that's going to be a tight grouping.
He's 3 starts this season. Tied for 8, tied for 29, tied for 22. He's third in greens in regulation, 21st. Third in greens in regulation. So, we'll see.
I think he's the type of guy
that's my
that feed
pick.
off the crowd too.
Yeah, I think that's something you got to take into account, especially at the Phoenix Open. It's gonna whoever's gonna win is gonna be someone who enjoys being with the crowd and is gonna build a fire on himself from the crowd. With that being said, Carson, who are you feeling? I think you told us earlier. I don't know how confident you were in that pick, but with that face you're giving us, it seems like there's no question about it.
I got the chef here winning this one. You know, he's already won this event in the past, and I just feel like he's striking it really well. He's still, after that injury, he's still a great player.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing's really changed, and I think he carries it in this week and just takes it home.
I mean,
Meredith and what's his son's name? Bennett.
Yeah, Bennett.
Bennett Scheffler.
You think he's going to go get it for Bennett?
Yeah, I think Bennett's going to be down there when they present it to him. And they're going to take a picture with all 3 of them, and I'm going to take home this bet here.
I'd love to see one of these dudes at a hole in one.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, someone who would probably hit a hole in one there would be like Ricky would hit a hole in one there, and he would just go crazy.
It would be someone It wouldn't be one of these guys you think,
No,
Harry
Minwoo
Higgs
Lee,
this week.
yeah, Minwoo Lee would be hitting one. That'd be,
Clanton's
Harry
plus
Higgs takes his little
6,000.
shirt off.
oh yeah. I'm
Siwoo Kid,
Siwoo, yeah.
one of these guys. Who you got?
Oh, that's a good question. I wanna stick with my gut, and I'm gonna say it every time. I want to see Justin Thomas get a win. I want to see him get back to the top, and I want to see him get after one, get a win, and get some confidence back under his feet and make a run in a major. I would love to see it. I would think this is a great stepping stone for him to get back out there and get a win under his belt. He's been playing well. He's been driving the ball well. He had a 46-inch driver a few weeks ago. I don't know if he still has that in the bag or not, but he's been hitting the ball well. He just needs to get some putts to drop. It's his biggest problem. He's been struggling with that putter for years, and I'm sick and tired of it.
He played well last week. Hopefully it carries over.
He's plus
Game's better when
12,
he's at the
plus
top.
1,200.
I mean, his only problem is his putting is god awful right now, and
Yeah.
he
Hasn't been able to put a consistent round together with putting.
No, he
But he's
hasn't.
second favorite to win this one, so we'll see.
I mean,
it's not a bad.
I think he's been playing too well recently. He's been hitting the ball well to not get a win, or at least to be a top five guy. I mean, I would love to see him get a win. I think it's definitely possible. If he can get that putter going, I think he's in a great spot. Now, if that's changing the putter, changing the grip, doing something. You look at Scotty last year going from his Scotty Cameron to the TaylorMade Spider, coming back this year, changing his grip from a regular grip to the claw grip, and becoming one of the best putters. I would love to see Justin Thomas do something like that and make a difference in his game and go win. Change it up and go get a win. It's time. And
Yeah. You'd like to. You'd like to think that's got to be something he should do to be able to, give different results putting. But I mean, obviously, he tried to get rid of Bones. So
yeah, I mean
he's caddy.
he's been a Titleist guy for forever. I guarantee you, he could go to the Scotty. He could go to the Scotty's workshop and ask for something specific, and get it, and make it work. You got to find something that works. Scotty changed his grip, changed the whole putter, worked. He's the greatest golfer in the world right now. So I think doing something along those lines would be great for him. And if he does that, I think I could easily see him go and get a win. Putting's his weakest part of the game right now.
I would love to see Clinton play well this week. He probably will.
I mean, he's been playing too well
It almost
for
seems
not
like
to
he's
be.
up there every. Yeah, Masters April 10th. Okay, so yeah, about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
About 9
yeah,
weeks.
like 13. No, like 13 tournaments ish left. So
Yeah.
they go to the Genesis next week, Torrey Pines. So
Going back to Torrey Pines. That's gonna be.
how's that course? Is condition okay or?
I think.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it should be in great condition. Weren't they just there?
Which one was the wildfires?
Weren't they just at Torrey? Huh?
Was the wildfires not Torrey Pines?
No, that's
Riviera.
Yes, it's Riv.
There, okay, Riviera.
Riv, yeah. I mean, that's unfortunate they're not able to go back.
They were
back
at
there.
Torrey Pines.
Damn it, I love
yeah,
that
you're right.
course, dude.
That course is so
They're
much
fun.
fun. I know
They
personally.
were at Torrey Pines.
Yeah, I know personally. I'll sit on PGA, and I'll just play that course all the time. But so it's gonna suck not seeing it played this year. But
Yeah.
stuff happens quickly. I mean, you can't control the wildfires. Something else that happened quickly that no one was expecting at all. Luka Doncic traded to the Lakers. I mean, that's not something I would ever expect to happen. As someone who's not a big basketball guy, but aware of the contracts going around. I believe he had a Supermax contract. He's a younger guy. I would have thought he'd be a franchise player down in Dallas. I believe when he first got there, Mark Cuban wanted him to be the main guy, wanted him to be a franchise player, wanted him to stay there his entire career, and Mark Cuban sells majority ownership and has no talking, no idea what's going on, and there goes his dude, and Mark Cuban had no say in it. So
Yeah, and Luca thought he would be there too because I don't know if you saw in his press conference, he said they traded me, and I have no idea why. Today in L.A. But about that trade, it was something that you look at and you don't believe for sure. But Luka's 25. And I guess they thought he wasn't in good enough shape, but I mean, he's still the top 5 player in the NBA. So I think that's for the Lakers to get him at 25, and they'll probably end up signing him. Like, he's either a free agent this offseason or next.
Yeah, he's a free agent this offseason.
This offseason, they'll sign him.
Yeah, I mean, this summer he'll sign a supermax contract.
Yeah,
I mean,
or they wouldn't have traded him. So
yeah,
or they wouldn't have traded for him. So they'll build around him, which obviously, I mean, getting Luka Doncic, building around him. AD's, I don't know how old AD is, but injury,
he's getting up there.
Injury prone, and you never know if he'll be available. AD's 31. Okay,
31. So
he's 31, and he's injury prone. But for the time being, I think it could. I think the Mavs could be good with Kyrie, AD, the two bigs. It's kind of Clay, PJ. It's kind of interesting. There's 3 bigs now, but they'll play AD at the 4. They'll be huge, and Gafford at the 5. Lively's hurt, but I think for the Lakers, I mean, giving away AD, I don't think they were going to win this year with him anyways. So now they can build around Luka and see what they can do.
Getting Luka, I feel like it's a big thing for them. I mean, LeBron's getting up there in age. I think they're trying to get their team a little bit younger, be able to make a run a little bit, a couple of years in the playoffs, get another championship over there. I mean, they have more than anybody can count. But I saw something a little bit earlier. I think Luka's supermax contract would be like $130 million less with the Lakers than it would be with the Mavericks. I'm not sure if that's right, but I think I saw it was $130 million less. So, I mean, the Mavericks are saving a bunch of money. I know they were like $5.1 million over their payroll, and now they traded away Luka, and now they're like just over $500,000 under it. So I could see them making a couple more trades and mixing some things up.
Yeah, they did today, actually. It wasn't big, but they traded away Grimes and traded for Caleb Martin.
Yeah, so I mean,
him. From
Philly. The trade makes no sense to me either party.
No, all three parties. Yeah. You can't forget about the Jazz.
Anthony Davis, who's injury prone, which now you have 3 centers on the roster. Granted, 2 of the most athletic centers of the game, but you're going to have 3 centers. You just traded away Grimes, who's been playing very well recently. He's a great role player. And then on the Lakers side, now you have no center. So I really don't get it. And Nico Harrison, the GM of the Mavs, Jason Kidd didn't know about it. The owner laughed at him when he told him about it.
Yeah, I've heard some funny things about.
On the Lakers side, LeBron didn't know. How is LeBron not going to know about what your team is doing?
Yeah,
it really doesn't make sense to me. And I think Luka really just had it out for Luka, to be honest, because you don't trade your franchise player who just brought you to a championship and damn near averaged. He had multiple 50-point games in the playoffs. You don't just trade that away.
No,
and it's really star-stunning to me.
From what I've heard, I mean, the Utah Jazz GM had no clue he was helping the Lakers get Luka.
He had no idea
he had no clue. I heard that the Mavericks GM also got rid of Brunson last year, gave him the Knicks. I'm a happy camper there, but gave him the Knicks.
He let Jalen Brunson walk.
Let him walk. I heard before he even got to the Mavericks, he was with Nike and he messed up a deal with Steph Curry. I mean, Steph Curry is one of the more generational players and more influential players. I mean, if you look at any high school game since that game in New York a couple of years ago, handful of years ago now, every single high school kid, every single college kid has been trying to shoot threes like they're Steph Curry. I mean, they're pulling up from 40 left and right. I mean, I think he's completely changed the game. So, I mean, if you look at that, you got to think what the Mavericks are doing having him as their GM. I don't know if that was the right move, what was going on there, but definitely something
He
that
basically just went behind everybody's back and did it.
And
In the
obviously,
NBA,
Luca
as a
had no
general
heads up.
manager of a team, that makes absolutely no sense.
I,
And on the
Luca
Lakers
had
side,
no idea.
how are you going to say no to Luka Doncic?
no,
So
I mean the the
Right.
Lakers GM was probably the happiest camper in the world. He was like, "Oh, I can
sure,
get,
you give up 30-year-old AD for Luka.
oh
Sure.
yeah,
And I don't think the Lakers are done though because I think they are going to go try and get a center,
mm,
and I think possibility of them getting Vucevic from the Bulls because
yeah,
they're terrible. The Bulls, they're trading away people. Levine, they're rebuilding. So
yeah,
if the Lakers got Vucevic, I think that could be something that is
Yeah.
beneficial to them in their starting lineup. I'm going to look up his stats this year, but he can shoot it a little bit. So, and he's better. I mean, he's averaging 19 and 10 this year, 55% field goal percentage, 17th in the league. So, I mean, I don't think they're done, but we'll see.
I mean,
Luka's hurt right now, so hopefully he comes back, and I think
I
it's going
heard
to
it.
be.
I
It's going
heard
to take time for them to even play well together. Him and LeBron, like that's just crazy.
That's two of the same player on your
Ball
team.
ball
yeah,
dominant.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. I mean, with that being said, I also saw something about the Warriors reaching out to every single All Star, wondering if they want to come join Steph Curry. They reached out. I know they reached out back to Kevin Durant, who left.
Giannis.
Yeah, people are
I mean,
saying
and everyone. I mean,
that's a possibility.
with Luca getting traded, you would have thought he would have been one of the more untouchable players. But with that being said, with the players that are the face of the franchise, who do you guys think is still an untouchable? Carson, I'm going to ask you that first. I mean, besides Giannis, I can't really think of anyone else who would be an untouchable in the league now.
Untouchable as far as in
And
the league.
untouchable as far as in your GM's not going to randomly trade you and you're going to be gone. Like
I
you're
mean,
locked in there.
after seeing this, I really don't know what to say because I would have thought that somebody would never trade Luka away. So with that being said, I really couldn't give you any players. I mean, I'm sure nobody else would go that way about it
Yeah.
without letting anyone know.
Right.
But I
I
mean,
mean, you got to think Wimby, Shea, um, Tatum, maybe Anthony Edwards. Like, I don't think those guys are getting traded, but
I
it's
mean,
kind of hard to
yeah, I mean, at this
with the
point, you
way
don't know. I mean, they could all be on
right.
different teams
because
in
there wasn't a
3 years.
basketball mind out. There wasn't a basketball mind out there that would have predicted this.
No,
There wasn't someone out. You think Luka
the
play his career there?
the basketball insider Sham, who first got it, he was
Yeah,
like,
Shames.
yeah, Shames was like, "Is my phone hacked? Like my phone get
Yeah,
hacked?" Like
yeah.
Yeah, I
that's
thought it was
the
fake when I seen it.
yeah. That, I mean,
I did too.
I got the notification. I was like, "What? This ESPN's got to be hacked. Something." I'm like, I don't know what's going on here, but that can't be true.
That is a good point about them being the same player. LeBron and Luka, they both need the ball in their hands. They're not going to move off the ball or, necessarily catch and shoot at a high rate. Those guys are going to make plays, and need guys around them. So it'll be interesting to see how it works out. But like I said, I think the Mavs can be good if AD is healthy and he's, the AD that can get 30 a game.
Yeah,
You got Kyrie and a closer. You got a couple good role players. Gafford and Lively's a good center punch, but
Yeah,
don't
both
I mean they don't.
Kyrie and AD are getting up there in age, so
yeah. And
Yeah,
Clay's getting up there in age too. I mean, that whole team's a little bit older now. But getting back to what you said earlier about LeBron not knowing, I refuse to believe he didn't know. I think he's just saying that to cover face. He's publicly said multiple times that he doesn't like AD talking about his son Bronny being on the team. So I think him saying that's complete and utter bullshit. I refuse to believe he had no clue what was going on. I think he was definitely getting rid of him no matter what. Because we all know LeBron has had a say in every trade that goes on, every signing that goes on. Because, I mean, he's LeBron James. He's one of the most influential basketball players of all time. I mean, 17-year-old
Yeah,
kid
there's
was getting fouled. I refuse to believe that he didn't have a say in that, wasn't helping it, and had no clue that AD was getting traded when AD said,
there's a lot of conspiracy theories getting thrown around there, and I'm wondering if the NBA forced this because the ratings are. I don't know if you guys know the ratings are down this year a lot. So
that
I don't know if
that
the
is one thing that I have
NBA
seen.
forced a big trade like this to happen. I don't know the logistics of all that, but
I mean,
I mean,
you could say that's a conspiracy. You could say it's not a
everyone's asking the
conspiracy.
same question: why?
Yeah.
So
Why would that happen? I mean, if you look at it, I think the whole idea of the in-season tournament is just bad. It's just not something that I feel like has worked out the way the NBA has hoped it would.
I agree.
I think Adam Silver needs to figure out what's going on there, how to get the ratings back, whether it's I don't even know. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
I think
throwing around
that's.
the idea of changing the quarters to 10 minutes. I don't think that's it. I don't think
That
that's the
that
way to go.
I think that'll benefit blowouts though, and load management in a way. I mean, but the in-season tournament thing is, first of all, the courts are a joke.
Yeah.
Those are terrible. I don't know
They,
whose idea that was, but those are horrible. They hurt your eyes to look at.
yeah.
And,
I will have to say
two,
I've
they're
not looked at them
ugly.
once. I've not looked at them
Oh,
once. I've not watched an
they're
in-season
terrible.
tournament. I've not watched a single NBA basketball game in years.
The
And
Rockets
guys say,
in-season tournament court will make you lose eyesight. It's so bright and bad, it's ridiculous.
All right, I got you. Let me
guys
look at
say
it
they
right
care
now.
about that, but guys say they care about the in-season tournament because the money, the $1 million. But at the end of the day, they don't. It's just another game. That's what I firmly believe. So,
Bro, yeah, it's just another regular season game.
and
All
yeah,
right,
they can
first
try to
off,
make it a big
that
deal having it in Vegas.
this court is ugly. I
The
mean, what are we
Rockets,
doing? Are they
It's
all like
disgusting.
they're
this?
terrible.
Oh, they're all like this.
Yeah, pretty
Well,
much.
some of them are better than others. Like I think the Mavericks. Hold on.
These are atrocious.
Yeah, they're all.
I mean, I get what they're trying to do, but it's not like you don't see that. The basketball court is always a light tan or a dark brown.
No,
There's no in
it's
between.
terrible.
You look at any basketball court anywhere. You look at a high school, you look at a middle school, you look at a college, you look at a small JUCO school in the middle of nowhere, and you look at the NBA. They should all be pretty uniform. They should not be red, orange, purple, whatever color you want it to be to
Yeah.
represent the city, the state that they're from, or the team colors. No, you keep things the same. Changing the court's not going to boost viewership. It's not like you're going to go see the NFL changing all their fields to for the Chiefs to be red, the Giants to be blue. They're not going. The NFL's not going out and do that. But they have better viewership than the NBA. I think they need to figure out a way to get their viewership back to the way it was back when the Cavs and the Warriors first met in that NBA championship, because the viewership was off the walls for that. So for it to drop off in 9 years, 8 years, whatever it is
Yeah.
a problem. And I think Adam Silver and the governing body of the NBA need to look at something, need to figure it out.
I
That's why it
think
could
part
be.
of it is just the level of play some of these guys are playing at is bad for the NBA. It's terrible. These
So
guys are jacking up threes. They're just looking to shoot threes. We've
going
been
back
saying
to
this
what I
for
said
years,
about
but
Steph Curry,
defensive
Bad
play,
bad
it's
product.
ridiculous.
do you think that maybe the league needs to shrink? Should some teams get crossed off for a little bit
No,
before?
I don't necessarily think that. I don't know what they can do, but I definitely think that the level of play of some of these teams and players have a lot to do with it. And with new recruits coming in year and year, and draft classes being more stacked, I think it'll bring more viewers back to the sport. But yeah, just players jacking up threes and ISO ball and no defense. That's what's bringing down the viewership.
So I mean,
Guys sitting out every night. Joel Embiid.
yeah, I saw something.
He's the biggest joke of it. He's the biggest joke in the NBA.
I got a buddy who's a 76ers fan. He said he hasn't played. I don't know where it was, but since like 2018, he hasn't played out there.
Nuggets.
Yeah, he hasn't played out in Denver since
Who?
2018.
Embiid?
Embiid
Yeah.
hasn't played out in Denver
Yeah.
at
I
all.
seen
Well, they
I
probably
seen
go there
Silver
once a
like
year, but
he made more money sitting on the bench than
But like
playing or something. I don't
that's
know.
I mean, if you got guys on supermax contracts, they should have to be playing at least X amount of games per year. So because I feel like if you're going to a game, it's not like you're going to an NFL game and Patrick Mahomes is going to be sitting out. He's going to be in the game every time, unless he's
And you
hurt.
know he's not even hurt. You
Yeah,
know he's not even hurt.
no, he's just I'm making my $45 million a year,
yeah,
so I'm just going to sit on my
my
ass.
team sucks anyways. They're
Yeah,
out of the playoffs right now, if I'm not mistaken. They are.
Oh, they're way
Yep,
out.
they're 11th, so they're 19 and 29.
if you're gonna
Um,
be on a supermax contract and you're not going to play, what are you doing?
yeah, I'm going
You,
to go out on a limb here and make a trade prediction though. I think Kevin Durant will get traded to the Warriors because the Suns are a hard watch as it is. They
you think
Booker
that's going to be
him.
another conspiracy theory where the NBA is going to force a trade?
I mean, no, I think the Luca was kind of the one, but this one, the Curry needs help. It's that simple. The Warriors are 11th in the West right now. The Suns are 10th with all that talent, so something's not working there. And the Durant trade rumors have um, gone up in the last couple of days, so I think he's going to get traded back to the Warriors. I think Curry's going to force that one, and they're going to be competitive. I don't think they'll be able to beat the let's say Thunder, maybe Grizzlies, but
Do you see the
I think they'll be
Warriors?
competitive.
I'm going to ask both of you guys this one. Do you guys see the Warriors going out and get someone else from the Team USA team to try and bring Steph that younger, energetic firepower that they had when they were? I mean, I wouldn't even say younger, but that firepower that they had when they were over in Paris for the Olympics. Would you guys see that trying to happen? Connor, I'm going to start with you this time. How do you see that
I
happening? Do you not see it happening?
I I don't know who's all available from the team. I know Jimmy's out there because he's been not playing. He's quit on his team, so he wants out. But I don't. I think he said he's not going to sign an extension there, so he's kind of off the list. He wasn't on Team USA, but and then KD's kind of the other guy. So I don't know who else they would get besides those two who's really available. So
Carson, what are your thoughts on that?
It would be a great addition to the Warriors. Really, what they need is just any superstar. But
Any All Star to go back and help Steph?
yeah, Steph has no. I mean, Wiggins off and on.
Yeah.
Freaking who they got? Buddy Hield. I mean,
yeah, Kaminga.
so
He
need
does. They don't have a
somebody.
second
They
option.
need somebody who can score the ball, and
Right.
it can't come from one person who you win games in the NBA, especially.
No. You want to know someone who doesn't need help? Cooper Flagg and the Duke Blue Devils. I mean,
Yeah,
you got the Duke UNC game, and they're whooping their ass by 17. You got a freshman. I don't know how many he put up, but you got a freshman
his line
dominating.
his line was 21, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks.
Was he an 18-year-old dominating in for one of the best teams in the entire NCAA? He is dominating. The entire Blue Devils team has been dominating. I mean,
Yeah,
I
I'm
got
trying not to be biased here.
yeah.
I think
I can say whatever I want because I'm not a fan of them. But you two got to shut your mouths.
I think Cooper Flagg's the best player in the country.
Okay.
Room for Auburn, he's really good, but just the stuff that Cooper Flagg is doing at 18 years old, it's almost like unnatural, and I mean it's a pleasure to watch. But what makes him so good is all the talent that he has around him. When you get him the ball, he can find players, he can make plays, but also when the ball's not in his hands, there's 4 other players who can score the rock or make a play. And I think that's what makes Duke different from a lot of other teams. And also, just Carolina isn't very good.
I agree, and I think I can second that. The Duke's the best player in the country. It's not just because I'm a Duke fan. I think if you got eyes and you can watch a basketball game, you can see the impact he has on the court. He came out one time in that Duke game. He played 38 minutes, 21, 8, 7, 3, and 2. And the numbers don't do justice because if you watch the game, you can see him getting the ball on the low block or the wing and making a pass over the top to a wide open shooter, or in transition, making a pass in transition for a layup. And on the defensive side, I mean, he has a lot of help on the defensive side and offensively, but the team has run through him. Like Seth Greenberg, the ESPN Game Day reporter, has talked about multiple times how they don't have a ball dominant point guard who they play and start.
They
Proctor's
don't.
really an off ball, and Sion is not necessarily a traditional point guard. So he's the playmaker of the team. So everything runs through him, and his ability to make plays is special at his age for sure, and defensively too. And Carolina tried to go to that zone, little 2-3, whatever it was, and that got torn apart. But their size, their lack of size, just killed them. Their guards are even. I mean, RJ's 5'11", Cadeau and Trimble are both, if I had to guess, 6'1", 6'3", 6'4". Ian Jackson 6'4", 6'3" ish. So their size just killed them. But I think Cooper's the best player in the country. And like you said, Broom's really good. I think he's 22, so he's 4 years older than Cooper, which is insane to think about. But he's been shooting balls so much better, too, from three recently, which at the beginning of the year, I mean, as you know, Carson, he struggled with his three ball. So
I think
it was
what
a
makes
dominating
it
performance.
from a lot of teams as well is just how connected they are on the defense side of the ball. If you watch that game, Carolina wasn't getting anything easy, especially in the first half. Second half, you kind of laid off a little bit and let them score. But in that first half, it was like they were in hell. They were in prison,
Right.
and it was evident to see. They couldn't get anything going. And a lot of people were saying before the start of the year that Carolina had one of the best backcourts in the league. And I mean, I don't necessarily think that's false, but I think that since they have no big man play, it makes their guards a lot more vulnerable, and it definitely shows. It definitely shows.
Yeah, and the defensive side of the ball is the whole thing for Duke. They switch everything. They got man at 7-2, being able to guard a guard on the perimeter. So they contest everything. There's really no easy buckets. Like you said, it was they couldn't get anything easy in the first half, and in the second half, it was a 17-point game to end with, but it really felt like 30 or 40.
Yeah.
Truly, it was the second half you could have turned off. So
I mean, my only concern about this Duke team is they are one and done university. They are one and done you. You can call LSU wide receiver U. I'm calling Duke one and done you.
That's very
I mean, I feel like it's the most brutally honest thing to say about Duke University. They bring in the best basketball recruits of all time, but they're there for a year and they're gone. So
yeah,
you got one chance to go win a national championship, but I think if you were able to bring guys in and make them stay for their whole 4 years, I think, especially with NIL, I think it'd be very possible now to get guys to commit for a long-term deal. Because I mean, you could just start throwing money at them. I mean, you look at Carson Beck getting $10 million at Miami. What's to say Cooper Flagg isn't going to get $5 million, $6 million? I mean, basketball's not the bigger NIL sport, but there's no saying that he can't get an NIL deal that's going to be more than his rookie contract. So I would say why wouldn't he stay? Why wouldn't he try and go get a national championship for Duke?
NBA rookie contracts are kind of big in size, and most of it's guaranteed. But yeah, I see what you're saying. I think it's hard nowadays, especially with the transfer portal, to get guys to come in and stay more than 1 year, especially if they're as talented as most of these guys are, because the NBA is most of these guys' goals, and if they can achieve that after that first year, they're going to jump shoot. But like getting a guy to stay at your program for over a year with the transfer portal being as big as it is now and NIL floating around like it's crazy is really difficult. And Duke this year, this is the first year they really went to the transfer portal and got guys with experience. I mean, Mason Gillis came from Purdue. He was a 3 year starter, then came off the bench the fourth year. Uh, Zion, he came from Tulane. He's a senior. Malik Brown, he came from Syracuse. I mean, we got a lot of transfers this year, and I think a lot of schools did too, which
Yeah.
really makes them better.
Yeah, I definitely know about schools getting a lot of transfers coming in. I'm at West Virginia University, big fan. I'm at basically all the games. Our whole team, we had no one stay. We brand new coach, brand new assistant coaches, brand
Literally.
new everything. I mean,
Brought in Javon. Yeah.
we brought in Javon Small, brought in Tucker DeFreeze. Tucker DeFreeze, not sure how public knowledge this was, but he did medically redshirt this morning. It was something that had been rumored around here at the university for a few months, but back in December when he decided he couldn't play anymore because of his chest injury, we thought he was going to medically redshirt back then just so that we could confirm that he'd be coming back next year and we could start bringing recruits in for then. But this morning he officially said that he is going to medically redshirt. So I could definitely see Darian DeFreeze using that as an impact to bring players to bring players in. I mean, as a coach that came from Drake and absolutely dominated it up there, I don't see why he wouldn't use his expertise as a winning coach and his son, who's going to be in the NBA in 2 years' time, to not use that to bring transfer portal players in. But you got to
Yeah.
think about it. Going back to Duke, the one and done. Do you guys think that Duke bringing in those transfer portal players that are in their third, fourth, fifth years, and maybe even have a couple more years of eligibility if they went JUCO first? Do you think because of that Cooper Flagg is playing so much better, or do you think Cooper Flagg is just going to, if let's say he doesn't want to go get drafted and he transfers next year, could he go to any university and could he absolutely dominate still, or is it just because the guys he has around him?
I think the guys around him definitely play a major role. Tyrese Proctor is his third year. I mean, I think they inspire him to be better. And yeah, I think he'd go to any other school and do the same thing. But yeah, I think the guys on our team, especially, just really just such a tight knit group. And you could say that with a lot of teams, but I really think this is different with Duke. Yeah, I think we all pick each other up and just make everyone better.
I'd agree with that. I'd say he's got a lot of talent around him. He's got three top, give it 10, 15, two others besides him with Khan and Man Man, and Proctor potentially going later in the draft. But I think Cooper could do it anywhere else. But I think the big thing for Duke is, and even West Virginia, how they went in the portal, like the roster construction is a big thing nowadays in college sports and how you build a team because it's more of like professional sports with the NIL and you're buying players essentially. So I think Shire, who they have a GM by the way, Duke, who's Carolina, Hubert Davis came out yesterday and said he's going to hire a GM now. That's not knowing if he's going to be fired or what, but I think having a GM helps in a lot of support staff in the management part. But Shire, I think, has done a great job with the roster construction. I mean, Malik Brown is a starter at every other ACC team, probably at center, and a lot of schools in the country. And for him to come off the bench just speaks volume. You got Isaiah Evans, who was a top 100 recruit coming off the bench, who hasn't really played much as of recently. You've got Mason Gillis, a fifth year from Purdue, who been Final Four, and then you got Zion, the grad transfer from Tulane. Like, they're a young team with their core guys with Flagg, Man, and Khan, but they've got some age surrounding them. Proctor, Gillis, Brown, and Zion, which I think is going to be beneficial down the road. Now, the only thing that concerns me is their schedule. The ACC is so bad this year, and we can get into how that's affected, the whole ACC in the league with all the coaches leaving, but they're going to run into probably multiple SEC schools, so they're going to have to be ready to be physical and bring it to them, because if not, you know how it is, March Madness. You have one bad night, and that's it. So, but
I will mention something that, as someone who moved down to North Carolina and was around these boys, and seeing March Madness the first few years while I was in middle school and high school and watching this during class, not something I was aware was going to be happening, but it's diehard down there. I mean, if you get to North Carolina, it's are you a Duke or are you a UNC guy? I mean, I never had to deal with any of this affiliation, so I'm on the outside, luckily. But
Yeah.
dealing with this is, I mean, when I moved, the ACC was the best. Even before I moved, the ACC was the best basketball conference in the league, and now they're falling off. I think they got
Yeah.
a couple guys
It's
who are
all
in
about money.
top
The
25.
only top 25 are Duke and Louisville, but Louisville just
Yeah.
lost. So
I mean,
it's all about the money, and the SEC schools getting all the money now, so it sucks. But
well,
and
there
to
is
the
going
point
to
about
be
the coaches, I mean, a lot of coaches have left too.
one thing that is going to be beneficial is the rev sharing. Rev sharing is going to be a great thing for all sports. I mean, women's basketball, men's basketball, soccer, baseball, whatever it is. I
For
think
sure.
with rev sharing, you're going to see more schools that are in a Power Four conference making bigger jumps, bringing in transfer players because they're going to have more money to spend. I mean, it all is going to come down to the NIL. I mean, there's no limit right now, which from what I have heard that there's works of trying to limit what there could be like allotted for each team and each university. But it's all going to come down to how much the donors want your team to win. I mean, you look at UNC. UNC used to be the biggest, one of the, or I can't say one of the biggest because I'm going to get my ass beat by these two. One of the bigger basketball schools in the country, and they're bringing in Bill Belichick. I mean, he's got all the money in the world through their NIL foundation to go win the ACC for football next year. So I mean, I think it's going to come down to are schools willing to get their donors to spend the money? If they're not going to spend the
Yeah.
money, you're not going to win.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It sucks to see the ACC be, I don't know, probably the third or fourth,
Sucky.
maybe fourth or fifth best conference in the country right now. You got the SEC, Big 12, Big 10. So I guess fourth. But anyways, the coaches all leaving, I think, played a big part in it too. I know you guys have all seen that stat where it was like all those coaches were in there for however long. And the longest tenured coach right now in the ACC is 5 or 6 years, I believe, which is nuts. But it sucks because the ACC every night was a competitive game, just about. You have Louisville, Syracuse was good, Virginia was always really good, Notre Dame was good, Virginia Tech was good, Florida State was good. Like all these teams were good, and there's such a down year. But like you said, the revenue sharing. Hopefully, it ends up spreading, and these AC schools are able to spend more money in NIL, which I think will happen.
Yeah, I definitely
Soon
think.
to come.
I think rev sharing is going to be one of the biggest and most beneficial aspects that comes into collegiate sports whenever that bill gets passed for rev sharing to be completed. But until then, you're still going to see the SEC schools, some of the Big 12 schools, some of the ACC schools just dominating. But until then, it's like I said, just they're just going to dominate, and the other schools that aren't going to spend the money are just going to stay the way they are. But going back to Cooper Flagg, are you guys seeing him staying at Duke for his full tenure? Is he transferring or is he going to the league? Are we seeing Cooper Flagg get drafted this summer?
Drafted.
He's going as the number one pick in the summer.
Right. I think it's already stated.
Already said
I
he's-
hear what you think. I hear what you say about the whole guys can stay and make more money, like Carson Beck. That's an example. But he's a clear-cut number one pick. So I think he's going 100%. And most of the guys come out and say, this is my ultimate goal of playing the NBA. So
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, any athlete that is playing wants to go and be a professional and make millions and millions of dollars. But like you guys were saying earlier, the ACC has not been the same conference that they have been. So most of these games that they're playing, I feel like maybe are like a little bit stat boosted, a little bit athletic boosted, where he seems, I mean, I'm not saying he's not the best player in college basketball, but I mean, do you think as an 18-year-old kid, is he going to be able to go into the league when he's 19 and play the same way he has been? Or do we think that maybe he should wait to grow, get bigger, get stronger, get faster, get better, and then go to the league. Like we all see Arch Manning becoming QB1 down at Texas. I don't think he might not go to the league and to go get drafted after this year. He might wait another year. He might wait till after his senior year to go to the draft. So I personally, as someone who sees the rev sharing, the NIL, I would tell Cooper Flag to stay either at Duke or to transfer and go get some NIL money.
If you look at the games for Duke throughout this season, he has his best games against the best teams.
Okay.
I think his game will translate to the NBA. I definitely think there's some things he can work on for sure to get more mature. But yeah, I think it's in his best interest to just go to the league. First off, you can get the contract. Second off, there's going to be so many secondary other things that you can make money off of once you get to the league. He already has a deal with New Balance, and I'm sure that will grow. And also, a lot of other companies and a lot of other sponsorships will join that.
So
I agree.
Yeah, Connor, go ahead. I got a question about
I was just gonna say, he comes across as the ultra competitive kind of guy too. So him going to the league, I think he would obviously want to do, but I think he wants to, be really good in the NBA at some point, because he's projected as one of the best players to come out in a long time, and he's at such a young age. And obviously, this isn't close to his final product, but he's got a lot of projection still because his frame is so, he's real skinny. He doesn't have much weight on him. He's shooting ball better now. He wasn't shooting ball great at the beginning of the year. So, I think the scouts really like the way he's been playing now, and it's all about. If he goes to the Wizards or not Pelicans, if he goes to the Wizards or like the Jazz, he's going to struggle for sure because of how bad the pieces are around him, and it's going to be hard at times. But you can't make a final say on him. His first year in the NBA when he's next year going to be 19. So he'll be one of the youngest players in the NBA next year too. So I think he's got a lot of room to grow, obviously, but he's dominating at the college level. And if he was to stay, he would dominate again next year. But,
yeah, I'm looking right now. He's leading Duke for everything. 20 points per game, 4.2 assists per game, shooting 48.4%. Yeah, and he's averaging 32 minutes. He's got 8 rebounds, 1.5 steals, 1.2 blocks. He's dominating for Duke. I personally, as someone who's watching more collegiate sports because I feel like they're a little bit more entertaining, I would love to see him stay in college.
It's a long shot.
I don't think it'll happen, but if he were to stay in college, I think he could dominate for 3 years. He could build an absolute legacy. Let's say he stays at Duke. He could go down. If he stays all 4 years, he might go down as the greatest Duke basketball player to ever live. 18-year-old kid absolutely dominating. Let's say he does that. He could. If he really wanted to, he could absolutely, with all the new JUCO rules and all these new rules going on, he could technically play for 6 or 8 years at Duke. But that's at that point that's stupid. But there's no reason he can't. He could build legacy if he wanted to.
Yeah. Well, I think he's ready for the NBA, and I'll put a lot of money on him going because he's going to be the number 1 draft pick. So once you do that, you risk a lot of other things. If you come back, you risk injuries. He was a tear his ACL next year, and he came back. So I think it's a foregone conclusion that he's going to go.
Someone else who is absolute guaranteed to go to the league, Javon Small from West Virginia University. Big Oklahoma State guy coming in, but Darren Freeze brought in the whole team, brought in a whole new aspect. You look at these Mountaineers and these games that they've been playing, that they've been winning. They're beating AP top 3 teams at home. We're storming the court. We're beating Kansas at Kansas. We're beating Iowa State. Iowa State is an absolute fraud. I'm sick of them.
Yes,
I want them out. I want them out of the AP 25. They're a fraud. I'm sick of them. They've been losing left and right. They're the biggest fraud in the AP. They're AP 8 right now. Get them out of here.
The thing about West Virginia is they'll beat these good teams and then lose to much
we're,
worse
we're
team.
losing to Arizona State. We're
Yeah,
getting our
but what I
ass
will
kicked
say
by
is,
Houston. We're barely
what I
beating
will say
Colorado.
is,
We're barely beating Cincinnati.
defensively, they are nasty, and Javon Small is probably up for Big 12 Player of the Year. And they would not be a team I'd want to play going into the tournament if they make it, or in the Big 12 tournament for sure. They fly around for sure, and Javon is legit, and the offensive firepower goes through him. So
All I'm going to say,
Darian's done a hell of a job for sure with that team in his first year, and I fully expect that program to be relevant for years to come as long as he's there.
yeah, I mean, his contract's, I want to say 3, 4,
Yeah,
5
but
years. He's
if
going
he
to
was
be.
to have a lot of success, he could he could
I don't.
jump somewhere else.
I mean, that's what he did at Drake. I mean, he had success for. It was closer to a decade though. He was there for forever.
Carolina job might be open
I
this summer.
he ain't going to Carolina. He's staying. His son's here. He's not leaving his
know.
son. Darian's going to be here for at least another
Hopefully
year.
Tucker's able to come back next year.
I think Tucker will be ready. Will be rocking, ready to go by summer. So obviously, transfer portal's going to be open. Players are going to be moving around.
Big 12's tough though. It's a good conference. You got
You got Houston, you got Arizona, you got Iowa State, the frauds. Texas Tech is ranked. Most of the Big 12 is AP top 25. But if you
Kansas,
look at
TCU's 9-1 in conference. Baylor, they're good.
I mean,
a lot of these teams are teams that are good, and it's gonna be a competitive game. So
I mean, you got any time that the Mountaineers are playing at home, there's a good chance that they can win. But they lost to Arizona State. They had just wiped the floor with Iowa State like a couple nights before, and they walked into that game thinking they were going to walk through them. And they were clearly still on their win high being hungover from that win, which is what Darian was saying. That cannot happen, but it happened. They lost. Then they went straight out to Kansas State and got destroyed by 13. And then Houston comes here, and we get destroyed again.
Houston's nasty. They're I would say 100% Final Four good, but
I mean,
you saw how hard it was to score on them.
the problem
Defense is everywhere.
The problem is, unless Javon Small is hot, the team is not going to keep playing the way they should be playing, which is a problem.
The second option, there's not.
There's not a second option right now. When Tucker wasn't hurt, there was that second option there. The team was playing better, but I mean, we have some freshmen. We have Jonathan Powell, a freshman. I would love to see him stay. Mm-hmm. There's a couple guys that I would love to see stay that might not. And I mean, most of our transfer players are older, so most of them might be gone. But I would love to see the younger guys stay, and let's see what Darian can do next year and get some guys to come back in, get something going.
All about buying players in this day and age in college basketball.
That's every college sport right now.
It is. I don't know why you wouldn't want to go there and play. I mean, Darian seems like a hell of a coach to play for.
I mean. You look at,
I mean, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Darian's a great
guy.
Great guy. I mean, his family's great. From the second he stepped on, the second he stepped foot on campus last year, it was people were ecstatic about it. Everyone was so happy, and he's came in. He's brought over a handful of fifth-year seniors. Javon Small, who's on I want to say his last eligible year, but I mean, a team that is dominant in certain games when they're playing well. I mean, there's no reason that he can't do something similar and bring these guys back. Like Amani Hensbury, he's a sophomore. He's been playing well. He could come back. Tucker will probably come back. Jonathan Powell, I'd love to see him come back. Freshman, he's been playing well. Sincere Harris, sophomore, he could come back. Overy can come back. I mean, there's no reason that Darren be leaving. Like I said, second step foot up here, everyone loved him. He's done a great job. There's no reason for him to do anything different. than to create another dominant team and let's say we could even be a better team and make a better run next year.
Yeah. I don't know if you knew, Drake is 21-2 this year, so they're still really good. So that's
I'm not
nuts,
surprised.
but it's a good program. They're usually pretty good.
Yeah, well, I mean, one would have thought that it would have been Darian bringing in all those players and dominating.
Yeah.
And you can tell that some schools, they're still going to dominate no matter what. I mean,
Yeah, I really hope Tucker's able to come back next year and make an impact because that sucks because he comes over in his first year with his dad.
comes over in his first year and he was
Did
averaging.
he play?
Yeah, he played.
Did he? How many games? Couple games? I think I do remember.
Whatever
seeing
the
it now
whatever
I
the
think
limit
about it.
right before medically redshirt is, whatever that limit is.
I want
I want to say it's like
7
10
or 8.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe 10.
Somewhere in
But
that
he
range.
played.
Yeah,
He
somewhere in that
played
range.
the one game less, and I mean he was
Yeah.
dominating. He was averaging like 20 points a game. I mean, that's that second option
Yeah,
that the team
he's a
needs
good
right
player. Really good player.
now. He could shoot
Oh, he
the
would
ball.
help tremendously.
He could shoot the ball.
And
Like-
defensively, like Hansberry, however you
Hansberry's
pronounce
good.
it.
Sincere Harris.
He's terrible offensively, but he can play defense.
I don't give a crap if he can't make a free throw. That dude
He'll
on
guard
defense
anyone.
is locked down. I would
Oh
love.
my gosh.
This ain't gonna
He
happen.
knows how to move those. He knows how to move those peppers. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, he does.
He
I
can
mean,
move his feet.
talking about another great guy is Sincere Harris. There's not a single guy that Darian DeFreeze brought in that is not one of the more wholesome people that I've ever met. This whole
Yeah.
team is. None of them are dickheads. They're great. Everyone up here in
Not
West
to
Virginia.
mention, the Coliseum's been jumping.
Oh,
The atmospheres, right? I mean, the atmospheres are huge.
the atmosphere at the Coliseum up here is, to me, nothing compares to it.
Yeah.
When Iowa State came here and they were the number 2 ranked school in the nation, it was a sold out show.
I'll take Cameron over anywhere.
No, son, shut your mouth. Shut your
Allen
mouth.
Fieldhouse is special.
I mean, there's plenty of special places to go play basketball.
No, but I do think that atmosphere is really good for sure, and it's been good this year.
I can
lot of big
only see
teams
things. I can see things only getting better from here. Only getting better.
Yeah.
I thought could have sworn it might have been last year, or the year before, but it definitely wasn't last year. It was the year before. That I want to say for the round of 64, we were going to have a home game for March Madness. Is that right? Is that something that happens or no? Am I thinking of something completely different?
Not that I'm aware of.
You don't have a home game, but it could have been like near you.
Yeah, because I do know this year there's games in Raleigh where NC State plays, but that's not their arena. That's
Okay.
public. That's where. So I don't think it might have been a convention center or something. You might be right, but I don't think you're allowed to have a. Well, now I say that, I do remember Duke going to Columbia. They played at South Carolina's arena, and they lost that year in the second or third round, years ago.
Yeah,
So,
I think
I'm
I
not
might
completely
be.
sure.
I think I might be thinking of something different, but there was going to be a first round in Morgantown, West Virginia, and there was
Yeah.
for some reason a chance that West Virginia was going to be playing there, but I don't think that happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I think with the college football playoff having the first round games on campus, I think that's something that March Madness could implement. I think that would make. I mean, it would be an absolute brutal atmosphere for the away team.
It'd be a madhouse.
But I think that's something that March Madness could look into doing. I think like that round of 64. I think that's something that could be
Yeah, that'd be
implemented.
nuts, but it'd be. I don't know. Those neutral sites, I like them. I really do, because you got like half and half.
You
it's just
get to
more
see how
traditional.
good each school travels,
Right.
which these Mountaineer fans, they travel well, no matter where it is. They travel well. So that's not a problem for us, but these like schools that are like Drake. I don't know how well Drake fans travel. I don't know how
Yeah.
good Marquette fans travel. I don't know how good St. John's fans travel. St. Mary's, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
I think seeing that, maybe trying it would be cool.
Yeah. I think they should stick to more of the traditional,
I mean,
personally.
you mean neutral? I mean
But
neutral games.
yeah, just neutral games.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that they need to change anything. I mean, I feel like March Madness is one of the most watched.
It's probably it's one of the greatest sporting events of the year.
Yeah, I think if you look at it,
There's a lot of good ones. The Super Bowl,
I mean, you don't.
Masters, March Madness,
I think in the stretch
World
of
Series.
Super Bowl, March Madness, baseball starting, the Masters, going into the NBA championship, going into All Star Weekend for baseball, and
The
then
draft, NFL.
and then all the drafts
NFL
going
draft.
on, and then NFL.
Best time of the year.
Yeah, and I mean, let's not miss the fact that there's other majors going on in golf. I mean, there's no reason that this stretch for the next 3, 4, 5 months isn't going to be the greatest. And we're starting out this weekend with the Super Bowl. We got the Chiefs, we got the Eagles down in New Orleans. Horrible event on New Year's Eve down in New Orleans, but
Terrible.
terrible event that went on down there. Prayers out to all those families. But Super Bowl is there. Chiefs, Eagles. I don't want to say a damn thing about this, but it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good game. Line
All
up.
right, so predictions.
I'm not allowed.
So-
I'm not allowed to gamble, but
Predictions.
I like where the lines are at. Not that I'm going to touch any of them, because they're horrible.
So I think it's going to be a good game for sure, competitive. I think Saquon will get his. I think he'll be running because that's a tough train to stop. If I had to make a final score prediction, I would go 27-24. Chiefs win by 3, a field goal.
27.
And
Are we staying in
that
regulation? Are we staying in regulation? We're going to OT.
Yeah, regulation. That field goal could come 2 seconds left. Like I think it's going to be one of those last possession, fourth quarter drives. And can Hurts make a play? Can he drive down the Super Bowl, make a play when it matters in the fourth quarter?
We're going to find out.
You know, penalties is going to be big. Special teams.
So Connor Ballou
So-
has Kansas City Chiefs money line at
27,
minus 120. He's got the over total at 48.5, and he's got their spread at 1.5.
Hypothetically,
he's
not,
got 'em-
nothing. Not hypothetically. That's not nothing that's been placed.
This is not gambling advice.
Yeah,
But
this is prediction.
If he were to gamble, this is
Prediction
what he would
Right.
go with. Every just Kansas City Chiefs, everything from top to bottom.
Right.
Carson
and
Felton.
that would be the over, correct?
It'd be the over. It'd
Yeah.
be the spread. It'd be the
over,
money line.
so
Carson
over,
Shit.
Chiefs spread.
Carson
I'm in
Shelton.
agreement with everything. Connor
Complete
just-
agreement.
I'm not going to give an exact score prediction, but I do think it'll be a close 3-point game in the Chiefs' favor. If we're looking at player props here, I do like Dallas Goedert, receptions or yards. I do like Kelsey's receptions. And also look out for P. Ryan's yards or receptions coming out that backfield. You know, Andy Reid likes to get him involved.
Okay.
How about Noah Gray?
I don't know. They
Noah
got
Gray.
Hollywood Brown back. They got them all back. I don't know if he'll sniff it much.
So we got both of these. Are you taking their spread too, Carson? Their 1.5 spread. I mean that's basically free money.
Basically money line.
Yeah, basically
Although
money line.
there's a pretty good chance it could be a 1-point game. It really.
I mean, if it's a 1-point game, that's gonna be a
This
missed.
game
That's gonna be a
might
missed
come.
extra. That's gonna be a missed PAT somewhere. That's gonna mean. And we're going to see
It
Pat
might happen.
McAfee absolutely drill a kicker. But I
It might happen.
mean, a 1-point game would be an absolute nail biter. It'd be great to watch. But we got both of these.
What I will
boys.
say is, something else is, I think the Eagles are going to be able to get to Mahomes. Their weakness has been their tackles. edge rushers, and I think Carter's going to be able to get a lot of penetration. So watch out for him scrambling a bunch. And if he starts scrambling, Eagles are in trouble.
His legs are always involved in the big games. I would
In the
like
big
his yards
games.
and Hurts' yards.
Yeah, and when the Eagles get to short yardage situation, that tush push is going to be
Yep.
something they go to. So it'll be interesting to see
Yeah. I mean, we got both.
how the Saquon gets going early, because if he's able to get going early, it's going to be a tough train to stop. So
I agree. We got both these boys taking everything Chiefs. I mean, Pat.
I'd say it's a smart bet. I mean,
It's
you don't wanna
probably a smart bet.
against
I
Mahomes.
know. I know Pat Riley with his patented, trademarked three-peat slogan. I know he's begging for him to win. He's begging
what's
for him to win.
I didn't understand that.
So basically, he trademarked it back in like the 80s or 80. It was either 89 or 90 when. What was he coaching then? The Lakers, whatever. Whenever they went on their
He
three-peat,
coached the Lakers.
whenever he went on their
Yeah.
three-peat, he trademarked it. So let's say like the Chiefs want to put three-peat on their shirt, he's making money from that. Anything that says three-peat on it, he's getting a royalty payment going straight into his pocket, and he's begging for it. I know he does.
Okay, well,
Who would not be begging for a royalty going straight into your pocket for doing nothing?
Yeah, for real.
so that was a very smart business move.
Oh, I mean, it took him 30-something years, 35, whatever, however many years it was
Yeah.
for it to work, but it worked, and he might make millions of dollars from it. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, though. Turnovers, I think, will be huge. You usually, I mean, you don't think Mahomes turns it over much, but fumbles, something like that. Special teams play a big factor. But this is the second matchup in the Super Bowl, Eagles-Chiefs, so we'll see.
Chiefs got him the first time. Jalen Hurts might be going for revenge. Might be a revenge
Eagles
game.
were up in that game, so
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, these two teams have dominated all year long. Chiefs won were outright AFC champions going into the playoffs. They were number
They
one
were
seed.
talking about today. They were talking about today on Pat McAfee show. Catches on the first drives. Props for that. And they were all going nuts. Dallas Goedert was plus 110 to catch a ball on the first drive. And
Plus one.
I'd like to say he will most likely catch one.
You gotta.
He's been involved.
You're slamming that like you're a judge with their gavel, sentencing someone to death. That's what you're doing.
Kelsey was the most favored at minus 125 or something, but they were all talking about Goddard getting going early. The Eagles are going to try to.
Titans
the
have
problem is-
against the Chiefs.
Yeah, and the problem is you game plan for Saquon. If they're starting bringing guys up, they've got weapons. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting.
With that, the Super Bowl predictions are in. The boys are all in on the Kansas City Chiefs. It's gonna be a fun one to
I'd like
watch.
to. I wish root for the Eagles, but that's my prediction.
Any final words, fellas?
Great show.
Great show, and excited for the waste management.
Excited
this
for waste
weekend.
management. Excited for
Fired
Super
up for
Bowl.
that. Super Bowl. The Blue Devils head up to Big Orange, Syracuse tomorrow night. So
Utah Utes.
probably another 25-point spread tomorrow night. So
Okay.
18.5.
18.5. All right. I'm assuming you boys are taking that for sure.
I might halt at 28, 29.5.
Wow. Utah Utes coming here Saturday
The
afternoon.
Utes are coming to Morgantown
Utah Utes coming to Morgantown, getting their ass beat.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. Getting their ass beat.
Saturday night.
Done. Saturday night, Utah Utes. God.
Coliseum's going to be
confidence,
jumping.
A lot of confidence, always. It's a Coal Rush game. We're not losing a Coal Rush game. Come on. Coal Rush game in the Coliseum, getting a win. With that being said, episode 2, over.